Hello, guys. So, today the topic will be cell injury. What is a cell injury? Is if a cell encounters any kind of change due to the stress from internal or external environment, it is known as cell injury. If a cell if a cell is suffering from any kind of stress, either from its internal environment or from external environment, is known as cell injury. So basically we can know injury can be of various types. Like some kind of injury is very mild. It just alters some kind of alters function, that's it, nothing serious. Next type is mild to moderate level of injury, and next kind is severe kind of injury. These are the type of injury. The injury can be very mild or mild to moderate or severe level of injury. So we can understand by these levels how a cell will face the problem. Like if there is normal cell and if it is suffering from a very mild kind of stress, then it will go through the process of adaptation. It will adapt to the stress. Like us, we peoples also adapt to very simple situation. We like for example, if we suffer from cold, or we or we suffer from very mild fever, then we will adapt with the situation. It's not a big deal. So for a normal cell, some kind of very mild situation, if it encounters, then it will go through the process of adaptation. Through adaptation, they can go to various kind of process, like they can go through atrophy, they can go through hypertrophy, they can go through hyperplasia and metaplasia. These are the situations they will go through during adaptation process. After the stress is removed, the cell will go to its previous position, previous state. That means normal cell will restore. If you'll ask me about what is atrophy, what is hypertrophy, what is hyperplasia, what is metaplasia, I'm going to tell it. Atrophy is decrease in cell mass. Atrophy always means decrease, and hyper means always increase. So atrophy is decrease in cell mass. Hypertrophy, look, there is a word trophy, and A and hyper. E means decrease, hyper means increase, trophy means cell mass, hypertrophy means cell mass. So atrophy means decrease in cell mass, while hypertrophy means increase in cell mass. And what is hyperplasia? Of course, hyper means high and plasia means increase in cell number. Metaplasia means changing of one mature cell to cell type to another cell type. So this kind of process the cell will go through to adapt to its normal position. They can be atrophied, they can be hypertrophied, they can be hyperplasia, they can be metaplasia. So after this process, when the stress is removed, the cell can go to its normal position. But what if the cell is going through mild to moderate or very serious, that is severe or persistent stress? Of course, for example, if we are human, Of course we are human. So we human also, we can adapt to certain situation, like very very mild kind of stress, like a cold and fever. Of course, very mild fever, we can adapt to this situation. We don't go to hospital for this situation. But if we are suffering from more serious disease, like if you are suffering from like kidney disease, or we are suffering from heart disease, then we have to go to hospital, we have to take the medicine, we have to take the treatment. This will be a serious condition. And if this disease are also in their severe stage, then we have to, like, there will be question mark for our life. That's how cell works. If the cell is suffering from very mild kind of stress, they can go to their previous state very normally. But if the cell is in their mild to moderate stage or severe or persistent stress, then they will have to be suffering a little more than very mild stage. For example, if okay, now we'll study about mild to moderate level. If the cell is suffering from mild to moderate level of stress, then this will be called as reversible cell injury. Cell injury. And if this is reversible and this is irreversible, severe. And if we know what is reversible and what is irreversible, reversible means if we are able to go back to our normal situation, then it is reversible. If we are not able to go back to our normal situation, then it is irreversible. So mild to moderate, if a cell is suffering from mild to moderate level of stress, then there is chance that cell can go back to their normal state. But if the cell is suffering from severe or persistent stress, then there will be no chance of cell going back to their normal situation. So that is called irreversible. Okay, for normally you can understand, normal cell can suffer from three kind of stress: very mild, mild to moderate, and severe. For a very mild situation, they can go to their previous state, but through adaptation process. And by adaptation process, they have to go through certain things, like they can go through atrophy, hypertrophy, hyperplasia, metaplasia according to this situation. But if the cell is suffering from mild to moderate level of stress, it will be called as reversible. And if the cell is suffering from severe or persistent stress, it is called as irreversible. So what is reversible? Reversible means the cell can repair and heal after some time if the stress is removed. During mild to moderate stress, there will be some kind of situation happening inside the cell, that is degeneration or subcellular alteration. I'm very sorry for my handwriting. And intracellular accumulation. This kind of situation can happen inside the cell, but after the stress is removed, it can go back to its normal position. Degeneration means whatever happening inside the cell, that is degenerated. And there will be alteration in subcellular particles. Intracellular accumulation is going to happen during this process. So what will going to happen during severe or persistent stress? This is, as we already know, this is irreversible kind of stress. So the only thing happen to cell is cell death. Finally, if the cell is suffering from severe or persistent stress, the cell will automatically die. So there is also two kind of process for cell death, that is necrosis and apoptosis. And there is a very very common question in pathology, that is, what is the difference between necrosis and apoptosis, as they both are the kind of cell death, process of cell death. We must know what is the difference between necrosis and apoptosis, and it is very very easy to know the difference, which we will study in our next chapter. Thank you.